They are trying to, in their most illegitimate way, but rational way, they're trying to destroy a presidency. And so it's not about me. What they're trying to do is they're trying to kill me, knowing that it will be a pain greater than my father could be able to handle.
All right, that was Hunter Biden claiming that Republicans are trying to kill him in a new podcast interview. The melodramatic take, of course, coming as the embattled first son is hit with a new 9-count federal indictment that could send him to prison for decades if he is convicted. Here to react is Fox News contributor and former House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz. Jason, what do you think when you hear that?
Hunter Biden is a failure to launch. He's never taken personal responsibility or done anything himself in his whole life. I mean, and that's just the reality. But politically, you got to take some self-responsibility. It wasn't Republicans that charged him. It wasn't Republicans who failed to file his taxes or cheated on his taxes. They want to try to blame Donald Trump somehow. But the reality is, there was money, millions of dollars, flowing overseas from China, from Russia, from Ukraine, from other countries like Romania, and that went into the pockets of the Biden family. It was highly suspicious. I think it was criminal. Is the president compromised? These are probative questions that need to be answered. And for Hunter Biden to try to blame Republicans, the Department of Justice is run by the Democrats, for goodness sake. That's right. Who he was charged with. These IRS whistleblowers were not Republicans. They were just doing their job.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting how he acts like, woe is me, when we have caught on tape probably the most serious quid pro quo with the Ukraine money from Burisma and his father firing that prosecutor. That was done obviously at the behest of his son and the money that they were getting from Burisma. He also got money from one of the biggest spy bosses per Hunter's own description in China. So, I mean, as you said, we have to know where this leads. And I think these charges don't answer the question about Joe Biden, which is what we're really concerned about. I want to play this from Miranda Devine. She had a very interesting take on how Republicans should be reacting to all of this. Listen.
That's why next week, when the Republicans bring their vote to the floor for formalising this impeachment inquiry, every single Republican should be voting yes to that. And if they don't, you have to think that there's something suspicious going on and that they're being bribed or they're being blackmailed, because there is no Republican who should not want to get to the bottom of this influence peddling racket, this corruption that goes right to the top of this country and that Joe Biden has been practicing for decades.
So, Jason, that's really interesting. She says if there is a Republican in the House who does not vote to impeach Joe Biden, then they are either receiving bribes or they are being blackmailed. There's absolutely no reason for this. Frankly, that would, on the part of the Democrats, they have a political incentive to cover up the sins of Joe Biden. But why would any Republican not vote to impeach him, knowing what we know?
It's about truth and justice. I can't imagine any person who believes in those principles voting against this. And for all those Democrats out there who have preached for years that no person is above the law, how did they vote against this? And so, and again, one other thing about Hunter Biden and not taking the personal responsibility, I didn't hear him deny any of the charges, by the way. He never denied any of the charges.
No, like he never denied he had a laptop, even though every three-letter agency was working with, social media and the mainstream media to tell everybody that it was Russian disinformation. He never actually did deny that that was his laptop either. But there were a lot of very powerful people that didn't want us to believe that the laptop was real or that the emails on there were real, or the photos. So really good stuff, Jason. We're going to keep our eye on this and bring you back as this story develops.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.